Hey there, my name is Sjöfors, and I'm also called the Price Whisperer. Weird name, well, Sjöfors is a weird name. Price Whisperer, maybe not. But if you Google me, you'll find my latest book. You'll find my writing, and um, and many times I've been interviewed on various media and so forth. So if pricing is a topic that you're interested in, I really suggest that you know you do Google me, and get a lot of information. Anyway, I want to talk about something related to international pricing, and really part of it is because I want to say that this is something that almost all companies need help with from a pricing consultant of sort. And I've done a lot of business internationally over. I mean, I've run companies in as CEO in four different countries. I've set up joint ventures in five other countries, and obviously been on the board in those countries. And I've done business, meaning being out develop market, sign, negotiated and signed contracts, set up distributors and reseller channels and so forth in about 40 countries, maybe 50. I hard to know. But there's one thing that I really take into consideration when I've done this, and that is the understanding that everything is different. When you go to another country and you try to sell, even if, I mean, obviously I'm here in the US, so even if that other country is Canada, things are different, right? Um, the buying behavior is different. The competitive landscape is different. Access to funds is different. Customs, buying behavior customs are different, and and the decision making is different, right? So everything is different once you start to expand on internationally, and that's why you need a pricing consultant that can help you find what those differences are, so that you can adjust how you go to market to what is appropriate in the country where you want to move to, so that you can adjust your marketing messages, so you can adjust your sales process, so you can adjust obviously your pricing, how you can train your people to be cognizant of what is different in the different countries. Many times you may need to have different feature functions and benefit of the products because it's different. And if you listen to me in the past, you know that all purchase decisions are done in context of some kind, with references. And in other countries, there will be other references. And with other references, it's obvious that you need to position yourself in such a way that you come across in the best possible light compared to those references, right? Right? Isn't that Doesn't that make sense? Right? And yet I see this so many times. Companies who go to market with the same stuff that works in their home market internationally, and yeah, it may work to some extent, but will it work brilliantly? No, it will not. Right? And that's why. And I mean, also I see this here from the, if we look at the purely um, the U.S. perspective, right? I hear CEOs here saying that, are we selling in Europe? There is no Europe from a sales and marketing point of view. there's a whole bunch of countries, and each country have their own quirks, right? And I mean, for example, in the many projects that we've done, we have consistently found that Germany is the country that is most price sensitive, right? So you want to have lower prices there than in France, for example, or in Italy, right? Depending on what you sell, of course. But it's and that's also interesting, obviously, because that's the strongest economy in Europe, right? And I don't know why they're price sensitive, but they are, you know. And so you can't take Europe as a single country, even if they have all the same currency in most of the countries, right? The euros, and and you say, but I mean, they're in the eurozone. You know, I have to have the same prices in Europe all over the place. No, you don't. You can have different websites in different languages and so forth. And yeah, there may be a little bit of crossover from one country to another. They go to another language to check your product and maybe, you know, and your prices and may buy from that, you know. Most buyers will not, right? And and then I see the same thing. Companies trying to come into the U.S. market with the messages and so forth that may made sense in their home market and doesn't make sense here at all, right? Like this company I saw just recently who was trying to sell some kind of device that helps you sleep by inducing brain waves, you know. Scary stuff to me, but they were trying to sell it in euros in the US market. Nope. That won't work. You know, I don't know. Best guess is that maybe less than 10% of the US consumer population have any clue of the relationship, exchange relationship between the euro and a US dollar. And if you don't know what you're actually going to pay, you won't buy, right? So that's that's a big no-no. And is this involved? Yes, of course it's involved. You want to have an excellent business, it's going to be involved. If I mean, otherwise, why bother? If you don't bother, you drive yourself to commodity, right? And commodity is sold on price alone, low price alone, I should say, and those are for people who've given up. Have you given up? I hope not. I actually, because you may be listening to me and watching me, I'm quite sure you haven't given up. But I'm sure that there's competitors in your market that has given up, right? That just they they don't think, they don't try to move forward every every second of the day. They just say, oh, we're okay, you know, we stay in business, we're doing a little bit of profits, and that's okay, you know. Yeah, I think that's sort of sad, but they exist, you know, and what it means for you is that there's a tremendous opportunity for you to come in and do better and just not even disrupt them, but just completely wipe them out of your business what should we call it, landscape, right? So, but again, I'm starting to talk about the international and I mean, we even have it here, even in the U.S. You know, people in different locations have slightly different reasons for buying. They have slightly different competitors and so forth, and you need to be cognizant of this. And the best way of understanding that is to do willingness to pay research from by price consultants like my company, and really understand what drives willingness to pay in different areas, in different countries, in different regions, and so forth, and how you should position yourself, what kind of marketing you should use locally, what kind of sales methodologies you should use locally, and so forth. And obviously, that's something those companies who becomes the market leader do, right? They don't just say, well, we're okay. And by the way, sort of funny, if you think about it, we have CEOs in our various companies to drive things forward, right? And I've never heard a successful CEO ever say, I am happy with my pricing, right? No, that means that they have decided to become commoditized and marginalized, right? You're never happy, right? If you want to drive your company forward, you're never happy, right? You need to continue to improve, to be better, to know your customers better, know why they want to buy, know why they don't want to buy, know how much they're willing to pay, know what kind of product and service features and benefits they specifically are willing to pay more for, and so forth. Anyway, that was my little spiel on international and the importance of user pricing consultants, really, to understand. And if you haven't read my book yet, I really suggest you do. They just ran out on Amazon, but I'm sure by the time you read this, Amazon have a new stock. So go and buy it there. I know there's getting a lot of good feedback, so I'm sure it's going to be good for you too. So thank you very much for your time. I hope this was valuable for you, and I'm looking forward to see you the next time. Thanks.